We're going to talk more about this now with our French politics editor, Marc Perelman, who joins me on the set. Marc, this was just the second press conference of its kind since Macron took power in 2017. And there was a lot of focus on education, like we just heard. What else did he have to say?
Clearly, there was a lot of focus on education, and this is not a coincidence. Obviously, his education minister is under fire for her criticism of public schools and also for lying about the reason why she pulled one of her children out of public school to put him in a private school. So she's under fire, under threat of being fired, actually. And so Emmanuel Macron wanted to show that education is a top priority. So you had lots of symbolic announcements, not a major change in the curriculum or the final exams or everything. But yes, he talked about uniforms. He talked about the need to have arts, culture, theater in school, about doing more sports in school. More civic education in school, even learning the national anthem by heart. So I would say rather conservative symbols, because he insisted that school, of course, is the future, but the school needs to be Republican, it needs to be secular, and it needs to be where the values are learned and transmitted. And so he really insisted on all those symbols, and that this will be a key priority, because obviously the new minister is off to a very, very bad start. The unions are already up in arms saying she's not up for the job. So Emmanuel Macron clearly sent the message: if she's not doing the job, don't worry, I'll keep a very close eye on education.
President Macron also talked a lot about Marine Le Pen's party, the far-right National Rally, which has been leading in the polls.
Well, obviously, this was his promise that he would be elected essentially to prevent Marine Le Pen from being elected. He did it twice, and he promised that when he was reelected, that he would make everything to make sure the National Rally is not a threat. But actually, all the polls are showing that the National Rally is ahead, not only for the forthcoming European Parliament elections in June, but even if you look already ahead, and obviously the big prize is the 2027 presidential election. So Emmanuel Macron vividly criticized the National Rally, saying this was a party using fears, using lies to promote its ideology. But what's interesting is that he said, their economic recipes are hailing from the far left. Those are old measures and so on. He didn't so much criticize the National Rally for its ideology, for the way it sees immigrants, about Islam and everything else, which is the traditional criticism of the National Rally. He says, no, it's more about the economy, stupid, if I may use the expression. And he said the National Rally is not giving you the right recipe. So it's an interesting way of criticizing the National Rally on an economic, social standpoint rather than political, ideological. But obviously, the National Rally is going strong. Many of its ideas are even implemented, some might say, by Emmanuel Macron's party. Just look at the recent immigration bill that was pushed through Parliament, and clearly some of the ideas come from the National Rally. This is a trend in France, across the Atlantic, and across the borders here in Europe. It's not an isolated phenomenon, but clearly it's there. Emmanuel Macron promised again that he would do his utmost, but let's not forget, he cannot run for re-election. And so the odds-on favorite is now the candidate for the National Rally, Marine Le Pen.